2005, and Michael Griffey is in trouble. His debt is unsustainable, and his marriage to Diane is crumbling. They are spending more and more time apart. My chat with Michael's best mate, Darren DeLeyland, is surprising, and we left his house with far more information than expected. You spoke to him?
Yeah.
Okay, and that was on the day, on the 29th?
Yeah.
Darren, what do you think happened?
Bang. Knocked down. Bang, bang, bang.
How about that?
That was extraordinary.
Yeah. So the one guy that spoke to him possibly minutes before he was killed, all that information is locked in his mind there. He had a stroke. He holds all the answers and he can hardly get it out. But that was quite significant. What he's saying is he spoke to Michael, and while he was on the phone, he told him about troubles he was having with his wife, Diane, that he was going to cut her out of the will. He then hears Diane in the background. The phone call finishes. Then he goes to call him back a few minutes later. He never answers. He called 12, 13, 14 times. Michael never answered. And if all that sounds bad, it gets worse. It's fair to say that your father was a ladies' man.
Yeah, so I didn't realise how deep that ran until all this.
How many different women was he seeing at this period in time?
From what I can gather, he was still sleeping with Mum, and I can think of 4 others.
These kind of arrangements usually are expensive as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Some cars that he'd bought, like a Z3 Roadster, isn't really a manly car. It didn't really suit him, but I would assume that one of his lady friends had liked those, so he bought one. I would assume he was spending quite a lot on that, yeah.
How much of this did Diane know? Was this the cause of all those arguments? It does make for one hell of a motive. Of the 4 women Michael was supposedly seeing, he did have someone special. A woman he had been visiting on and off for 5 years. We called her the Mistress, but in reality she was much more than that. Her name is Gillian. Hello. Hello, Gillian.
How you going?
Taylor.
It is Taylor.
Channel 7, how are you?
I'm Denham. In the years since, Gillian had remarried, so she was hard to find.
The blinds can go down if you want. So, that's all right.
Can I ask how you met Michael?
He was a customer. I worked for Bendigo Bank, and he was a customer there. Him and his wife. And
How often were you seeing him?
well, fairly often. Yeah, we were in a relationship for 5 years, so probably a couple of times a week, I suppose.
Well, and you don't spend 5 years with anyone without loving him, do you?
No. Look, I did love him, and I'll never forget. And he just made you laugh. He was just great to be around. Some people are just really good to be around, and that was Michael. Just a great character.
Do you miss him?
Oh yeah.
Did you meet Diane at all?
Oh yeah. Well, I knew her as a customer. She disliked me basically because I guess she didn't want him as a partner, but she didn't want anyone else to have him. I think that was the situation. So it made it very hard with her, being a customer. Very awkward.
Because Gillian worked at the bank where Michael and Diane had their accounts, she is uniquely qualified to answer one of the most important questions so far.
Part of my job was to do what we call the dishonour report. It was one day when I was doing that report that I saw that there was cheques bouncing from their business account, She'd taken over that side of things, and I think what was happening was she was trying to discredit him. I had to ring him. He was signature on the account, and he was furious. He was really furious.
Did Michael ever talk to you about his wish to remove her from his will or to remove her from control of the bank accounts?
Yes.
What did he say?
Yeah, well, see, Michael told me he was making a new will. And he said, I've opened up a can of worms. He said, I'm going down the bank now to have a name taken off the account. He was actually talking about her getting committed.
Mentally?
Yeah, yeah.
That confirms what Darren had told us, and something else. This is jumping ahead a little here, but it's important. Michael was bashed to death on the 29th of December. Over the next 4 days that passed, including New Year's Eve, no one, not his wife, not his kids, not a single friend, reported him as missing. It turns out the person who finally made the call to police was Gillian.
We'd made plans to go to spend New Year's Eve together.
And then New Year's Eve comes around and you haven't heard from him?
Yeah, and then of course, you know, as days went by, you know, I'm thinking, this is not right.
So the 2nd of January, you call police?
Yeah.
Do you remember what you said?
I just feel there's something wrong because it's not in his character. Because I wasn't his wife, you know, oh, are you sure he wants to be found? Saying things like that, you know. Yeah, so and then the detectives turned up here in the morning.
What did they tell you?
Oh, they told me he had been found and he was murdered. Yeah, he'd been murdered. I went into shock. I was, just a mess. Shaking and, yeah.
Still upsets you now?
Yeah.
Gillian told us she kept some documents she received from police at the time. She's held on to them for all these years.
So it's a bit crowded in here. I don't know if you can come in. How about that?
These will be helpful in the coming weeks.
Do you mind if we take this with us and photocopy it?
Fear of being labelled the other woman stopped Gillian from ever telling her story.
There was one incident where the whole family actually attacked Michael. They were at some barbecue or something because they were big drinkers, and they attacked Michael, and he ended up in the Wonthaggi hospital.
And when you say the whole family, as in Diane
His kids.
and the 3 kids?
Yeah.
And Diane?
I think it was, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Diane and the 3 kids attacked him?
Yeah.
From the little I know about Diane, Gillian seems to be the exact opposite.
Not everybody has the courage to talk about these sort of things.
Hasn't been easy, but I've done it.
Yeah.
And really, she is still trapped somewhere between guilt and grief. Even though the situation was messy, I can't help but feel for her that things didn't work out.
Did you expect that a killer would have been caught by now?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, if that was my husband, well, I would be screaming from the rooftops, who's done this? You know, you've got to find him. But when you see her, she's never opened her mouth. She's never said a word. And I just think it speaks volumes. I just think it'd be human nature to be wanting to know who the hell did this, you know? And she's never said it.
In any police investigation, the last 24 hours are crucial. In the next episode, we focus exactly on that. An hour-by-hour breakdown of Michael Griffey's last movements. And as we do that, the story of one of our family members starts to come unstuck. Watch it here, right now.